Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. If you're new, my name's Sarah. I'm so glad you're here. So today we are out here early because it's going to be 95 degrees today. It's the last of our really hot days for a while anyway. But I have kind of been a little slow in getting some of my fall things in the ground. And if I want a chance at some of those things growing, then I really need to get on it. So today we're going to pull back some of the landscape fabric I pulled down. We're going to plant some potatoes. And I think I also am going to pull my butternut squashes out. I need to test the rest of them that are on the plants and see if they're ready to harvest. But I'm thinking I'd like to plant some cucumbers on that trellis. So we're just going to kind of try and do some things around the garden and hope for a fall harvest. Before we get to planting the potatoes, I need to show you guys my walkways. I'm a little bit embarrassed by these, but it's been very hot, and then we got rain, and then I got sick, and I spent like 3 days in bed. And so my walkways have not been weed whacked in a few weeks, and y'all, it's awful. But once we get past today, our temperatures are going to drop. So I think after today, I'll be able to get out here. Last year, I don't know how hot it was, but I got overheated weed whacking the garden when it was really hot out. And so I'm just not going to risk it on a day like today. So we will wade through the weeds in the walkway and get our potatoes planted. And the walkways are just going to have to wait for another day. Oh, friends, let me tell you, I have learned a lesson this year. I had basil for the first time ever really just massively self-seed itself in my garden. And I did not have great germination of the basil I started at my house this year. So I just let it go crazy. That was not a wise decision. Look at this basil. It's so huge and it is just in my way at this point. The landscape fabric I put down, it's really helpful. But around the edges and things, there's a lot of weeds. A lot of them are sort of interplanted with basil. Self-planted, obviously. I'm not intentionally planting weeds. But we just have too much basil in this garden. So we're going to pull some of it out and get a bit more room for planting our potatoes. I also am going to have to show you guys, but I had some squash hiding in here that I didn't know was here because it was hidden by all the basil. I think we're ready to pull the fabric back. Oh, I'm a little nervous about what creepy crawlies might be under here, but only one way to find out. Oh, it's not bad. And the lack of weeds, oh man, y'all, beautiful thing. It was 100% the right call to put that fabric down here. So I think I'm going to do two different things here to try and get a good potato harvest. I'm going to top this off with some fresh compost. And what was the other thing? Oh, I'm going to add some fertilizer to the hole with each potato. I didn't do that in the spring, and my potato harvest, while I was really happy with it for a first ever potato harvest, was kind of small. It was only about 1 pound per plant, and it said you could get up to 3 to 5 pounds. So I want to see if we can get a bigger harvest. I had to go on the hunt for a trowel. We are kind of bad about leaving them laying around the garden. And in the process, I found some really beautiful things I thought I'd show you guys. Now, I gotta be honest, we have a butterfly garden area. I've showed you guys a couple of things in there before, but it has gotten away from us really badly and it's hideous. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing because we're working on it slowly but surely. But I do want to show you the things I found in it. So here you can see where we've worked some. We put in some of the dirt we got that was left over from our raised beds and some of our chip drop. You can see where that ended and it's very weedy, but look at these glorious morning glories. Is their name any wonder? We planted these like 4 years ago, and every year we have just maybe one come back. It's just going wherever it wants, but they're so beautiful. Their color doesn't even come through all the way in the picture. They just are stunning. And look, we have a volunteer milkweed, which is perfect for a butterfly garden because this is the host plant for, y'all, my brain just totally froze. This is the host plant for monarch butterflies. Before we get to planting those potatoes, I want to show you guys one more thing. In my search for the trowel, I found something that was so sad. Look at this big, beautiful butternut squash. I have been checking this guy. I actually checked him like 2 days ago to see if he was fully ripe. And look at what I saw today. There's a big hole in the bottom and he's rotting. So sad. I almost forgot, and I want to make sure I show you guys. I had told you that I had some squash hiding in the weeds. Some of them are actually hiding in my flowers too. So let's take a look at those. Look, here amongst my zinnias and zucchini, one of my squash plants crawled across the walkway and is growing a zucchino rampicante down amongst the zinnias. When I pulled the weeds out, I also spotted, well, some of the weeds. I also spotted that guy and that one. That's a lot of zucchino rampicante. On to planting potatoes. So we're going to plant potatoes in this area here. I'm not 100% sure how many potatoes I have, so we're just going to wing it and see how much space we need. But we eat a lot of potatoes, and so we will be happy to have however many we can get. So we are planting just plain old potatoes from the store. Lots of people will tell you if you're going to plant potatoes from the store, you need to get organic ones. And while that would definitely be preferable, the main reason I hear people say that is because they say potatoes are sprayed with some kind of agent that stops them from sprouting, and that doesn't get done to organic potatoes. But you guys, these are not organic potatoes, and they are covered in sprouts. Every single one of them has sprouted just because it's summer and it's warm, and so they don't last as long in the house as they do in the winter. Oh no, you guys. I think the fire ants made a home in my bed again under that landscape fabric. We're gonna still plant the potatoes and we're gonna hope that it's fine. But one of you lovely people told me about ants eating potatoes earlier this year. I had no idea that was a thing. So this might be a problem, but we're going to do it anyway, and it'll be a learning experience. So let's plant our potatoes. I am mainly going to stick to what I did in the spring. I am going to dig a hole about 6 inches deep. This time, I'm going to add some fertilizer to my hole, and then I'm going to pop a potato in. Easy peasy. Nothing to it. I was a little bit nervous about this in the spring because I'd never done it before. And we are going to plant these about a foot apart. But like I said, I was nervous about this in the spring because I had never, y'all, grass roots. They're my nemesis, even in these raised beds. So, like I said, I was kind of nervous about doing the potatoes in the spring because I'd never planted potatoes, but it really was as simple as stick them down in a hole, cover them up, and about 3 months later, I had potatoes. So don't get bogged down by things that make you nervous. Try it. I mean, this was a $5 bag of potatoes. We ate what we could out of it, and then once they started putting eyes on, I saved them to grow. And so if for some reason this doesn't work out, I am not really out a whole lot of money, but just giving it a try is gonna probably yield me at least something more than if I didn't try, right? For me, there's also the chance I'm a little bit late in planting because time just got a little bit away from me. But even if all we get is new potatoes are better than no potatoes. Thinking I need to dump my bag out so I know how many potatoes I have to plant. Oh man, look at the eyes on this guy. He's definitely ready. Oh, he's starting to rot too. I'm still going to plant him. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but your seed potatoes, I understand, typically do rot in the ground anyway. All right, 15 potatoes. I think that's a good amount. I think it's becoming something of a tradition that I lose my microphone in the garden, but I did it again this time. But I wanted to show our potatoes are all planted. So I wanted to show you guys my squash vines. You can see here, there's this really sad yellow one with a lot of brown leaves, and then there's some beautiful green out there as well. The yellow is my butternut squashes, and they have just totally succumbed, I find out, to vine borers. There's major vine borer damage on these plants. And so I go through and I check on the squash that are still on the plants. Some of them are still very young and they have started to get soft and shrivel up just because they didn't get the chance to fully mature. But there are two on these plants that I'm able to do the fingernail test on, and they are actually perfect. So I'm really excited about those. This one you can see where it had started to get soft and shrivel up because it's vine dyed. So we're going to go ahead and rip all of these out and get something else planted in their place. So here I'm showing you the 2 butternut squash I was able to harvest. And I'm actually really happy that I did this today because these 2 squash actually had vine borer damage very close to their stems. I've never seen that before, but I think that they could have damaged the actual squash. So it's really good that we got these off the plants and into the house. So I'm leaving the cicada noises in because it cracks me up. My microphone was way far away from me at this point, and I didn't realize. But I wanted to leave this in here and show you guys the vine borer damage in case any of you are unfamiliar. So here you can see there's actually the hole where it went in the plant, and it's kind of this frass looking stuff that the caterpillars push out of the plant. And it's really distinct. You definitely know once you've seen it once, you know it's vine borer damage. So friends, what do you guys think? Do we leave this chunk of loofah here? I'm curious to see how many of these baby loofahs actually will grow, but I am going to plant cucumbers here. And so I don't want the loofah to completely take over. I don't have to decide today. You guys tell me what you think. But now I think it's time to get some cucumbers planted. If you guys have been with me this year, you'll know I had trouble direct seeding cucumbers this year. They would sprout and then they would shrivel up and die. They weren't being eaten off above ground. And I still don't know what happened, but we are going to try this in my new beds because maybe it'll do better here. Oh, that seed stuck to my finger. No good. So super easy here. I am just gonna stick some cucumber seeds in the ground. My goal will be to have about 3 cucumbers. I normally plant about 2 seeds close together. So we'll just see what happens. I do think I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some of my fertilizer on here since we know these beds are deficient. As late as it is in the year, I wanna make sure these plants have a good chance right from the start. Get all of this watered in, and hopefully we'll have some cucumbers before the end of the year. If you happen to be new here, I've had a terrible cucumber year this year. Last year I had a drawer in my fridge that was completely full of cucumbers. I might have 20 cucumbers at a time. This year I got 3 cucumbers out of my garden from my spring planting. So we need cucumbers. And you guys, this might be a terrible idea. I don't know. But I really want some zucchini. And this is really about the best place I have to try and plant some as far as garden availability goes. So we're also going to plant some zucchini in this bed and hope that before they germinate, the bugs will have moved on to different pastures, so to speak. Because there are quite a few squash bugs hanging out in here. I'm also going to top those seeds with some fertilizer. And I think we're going to call it a day. Because I don't know if y'all can tell, but it is already pretty darn toasty out here. My seeds and my seed potatoes are all watered in. I've got my butternuts that I harvested. And so we're going to go in, get cleaned up. But first, I wanted to show you guys the whole butternut squash harvest before we call it a day. So let's go see how many we got. Y'all, I am going to ask, please forgive how messy my kitchen is. I mentioned earlier that I had not been feeling well for a few days and things just got away from me. But I wanted to show you these butternut squash. So let's see. I haven't actually counted them yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Y'all, I think I mentioned earlier, I've only ever gotten like 2 butternut squash from my garden before. And these were off of 3 plants. So I don't know if that's arguably a good harvest or a bad harvest, but in my garden, this is a fantastic harvest. So I'm so excited about it. And I have one more thing I want to show you guys before we say goodbye for the day, because y'all, these are kind of the pride and joy of my garden. These are kind of the pride and joy of my garden. They're just so cool. I love them. Look how huge they are. If you don't know, these are Zucchino rampicante. They get huge, and you can pick them small to eat as a summer squash, or you can let them get really large. These got really large while we were on that trip a month ago and had already started to turn. So I let them, and I cannot believe how big they are. So these are fantastic for dicing and slicing because this whole neck is solid. The seeds are, ooh, the seeds are all down here in the bulb. And so I really like them for that aspect. I feel like it's my caveman club. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you guys are getting some fall things planted in your gardens. And I'll see you next time. Bye.